The healer's hope hung in space like a pearl against black velvet, its pristine white hull adorned with the ancient symbol of medicine, a red cross that blazed like a beacon of compassion among the stars. At over 3 kilometers long, the hospital ship was one of humanity's greatest achievements, not in war, but in the art of healing. Dr. Elena Santos stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars as she watched another medical shuttle dock with practiced precision. The vessel carried refugees from the latest skirmish in the Orion sector, civilians caught in the crossfire of a conflict that had nothing to do with them. Just another day in humanity's self-appointed mission to heal the wounds of a fractious galaxy. Doctor, the new patients are being processed in Bay 4, her eye assistant care reported through her neural link. Preliminary scans show severe plasma burns and radiation exposure. 3 critical cases. Elena nodded, already moving toward the medical bay. Prep the quantum regeneration chambers and notify Dr. Kull. We'll need his expertise with the radiation cases. As she strode through the gleaming corridors of Healer's Hope, Elena passed beings from 24 species, medical staff, patients, and support personnel, all working together under humanity's banner of healing. The ship was humanity's statement to the galaxy, that in an age of warships and planet crackers, they chose to build vessels of mercy. In the command center, Captain Sarah Chen monitored the steady stream of incoming data. The Healer's Hope was operating at 157% of its rated capacity, every spare space converted to treatment areas. But they didn't turn anyone away. They never did. Captain, her tactical officer, Lieutenant Rodriguez, called out. Long-range sensors are picking up an unknown vessel approaching at sublight speeds. Configuration matches no known registry. Chen frowned. While the Healer's Hope carried standard defensive shields, it was no warship. Its protection came from international treaties and the universal respect for medical vessels, rules that had held firm for centuries. Open standard greeting channels, she ordered. Remind them we're a neutral medical vessel operating under Galactic Convention Article 7. The response came not in words, but in the sudden flare of weapon systems powering up on the approaching ship. In the medical bay, Elena was deep in concentration, her augmented senses interfaced with the quantum regenerator as she carefully rebuilt damaged tissue in a young Centaurian child. The first warning she had was the ship-wide announcement in Chen's calm but urgent voice. All personnel, emergency protocols are now in effect. This is not a drill. Medical staff, secure your patients. All non-essential crew to emergency stations. Elena's hands never wavered as she completed the delicate procedure, even as the first impacts rocked the ship. Through her neural link, she could hear the chaos unfolding. The unknown vessel was firing on them, deliberately targeting medical bays and life support systems. In the command center, Chen watched in disbelief as the attacking vessel, now identified as belonging to the Kraxan Empire, systematically targeted their most vulnerable sections. This is Captain Chen of the Earth Medical Vessel Healer's Hope. You are in violation of every medical neutrality treaty. Cease fire immediately. The response came in a cold, artificial voice. Your species' dedication to healing others is a sign of weakness. The Kraxan Empire will demonstrate the futility of compassion. Your destruction will serve as an example. Another blast rocked the ship, breaching hull section 7. Emergency force fields snapped into place, but the damage was done. Through the ship's sensors, Chen could see escape pods launching, carrying their most critical patients to safety. But there were thousands more who couldn't be moved. Patients in stasis, beings on life support, children in quantum regeneration chambers. Elena worked frantically to stabilize her patients as the ship shuddered around her. Through her neural link, she could hear the desperate calls for help being broadcast on all frequencies, the responses from nearby vessels promising aid that would come too late. The Kraxan ship fired again and again, each shot precisely calculated to cause maximum damage to medical facilities, while leaving the ship intact enough to prolong the suffering. They weren't just attacking a vessel. They were attacking an ideal, trying to prove that mercy was a weakness in a cruel universe. As Hull Section 12 collapsed, Elena made a choice. She activated her emergency transmitter, broadcasting directly to Earth Command on a quantum-encrypted channel. Her message was brief. "This is Dr. Elena Santos of Healer's Hope. They're targeting patients. Children. The Kraxan Empire has chosen to attack medicine itself. Remember our oath. First, do no harm. But remember what follows. Protect life. By any means necessary." The message was received by Earth Command exactly 2.3 seconds before the Kraxan Empire's final shot struck the Healer's Hope's central core. As the ship began to break apart, as thousands of beings cried out in terror and pain, humanity received its answer to an age-old question. What happens when you attack those who have chosen to heal? The galaxy was about to learn why humanity's greatest warships had been disguised as medical vessels, and why the most dangerous force in the universe was a species that knew exactly how fragile life was, and had mastered both the art of saving it and the science of ending it. In the depths of Earth's quantum command, buried beneath the Mariana Trench, Admiral James Harper stood motionless as he watched the final transmission from the Healer's Hope. The quantum-encrypted message from Dr. Santos played on repeat, accompanied by sensor data showing the systematic destruction of humanity's greatest medical vessel. Time since attack began. His voice was quiet, controlled, betraying none of the fury that radiated from his rigid posture. 17 minutes, 12 seconds, sir, his AI coordinator replied. Current casualties estimated at 3,412. 60% were patients in critical care. Harper nodded once, then opened a secure channel to the Solar System Defense Council. Authorization. Harper, James. Admiral. Code Black Protocol is now in effect. Release the Guardians. Throughout the solar system, what appeared to be ordinary structures began to change. Mining platforms around Jupiter's moons shifted, revealing sleek weapon arrays hidden beneath industrial facades. Orbital medical research stations around Mars transformed, their outer shells peeling away to expose warship cores that had laid dormant for decades. But most impressive was the transformation of Earth's other hospital ships. Across the galaxy, 23 vessels identical to the Healer's Hope shimmered as quantum camouflage fell away. Their pristine white hulls darkened to a deep obsidian that seemed to drink in light itself. The red crosses remained, but now they pulsed with an inner fire that spoke not of healing, but of judgment. All ships reporting ready, Admiral, the AI announced. The Kraxan Empire's nearest military base is 3 light years from their attack vessel. Deploy the fleet. Standard medical response protocol. The words were innocuous. The reality was anything but. Humanity's medical response protocol had been developed over centuries of watching other species wage war. While they built hospital ships and healing centers, they had also prepared for the day someone might mistake their compassion for weakness. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Kraxan vessel's quantum sensors detected multiple spatial distortions. Space itself seemed to fold as humanity's hidden fleet emerged from dimensional pockets that shouldn't have existed. The hospital ships, now revealed as the most advanced warships ever created, took up formation around the attacker. Admiral Harper's voice transmitted across all frequencies. "This is Earth Command to Kraxan vessel. You have attacked a medical ship in violation of all galactic conventions. We are initiating emergency medical protocols. Please be advised that resistance to treatment is futile." In the Kraxan ship's command center, Supreme Commander Vextar laughed. "The humans think they can intimidate us with theatrical displays. Fire all weapons. Show them the meaning of." His words cut off as their primary weapon array simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no destruction. The matter had been edited out of reality with surgical precision by a beam of absolute darkness from the nearest Earth vessel. "What you just witnessed," Harper continued, his voice still maintaining that professional medical tone, "was a demonstration of our quantum excision technology. Your weapons have been removed with the same precision our doctors use to remove tumors. This is your final warning. Stand down, or we will be forced to proceed with more aggressive treatment." But the Kraxan commander had built his career on never backing down. Launch all fighters. Show these healers what real warriors can. The fighters never launched. As they prepared to deploy, the human ships fired again, not with destructive energy weapons, but with beams that altered reality at its most fundamental level. Each fighter was precisely extracted from existence, its crew transported safely but unconsciously to their nearest habitable world. "Fascinating," Harper noted, watching the sensor feeds. "They still don't understand. Initiate full treatment protocol. And send word to all Earth vessels. Operation Hippocrates is now active." Across Kraxan space, previously hidden Earth sensors activated. What the Empire had dismissed as medical monitoring stations revealed their true purpose. They were targeting arrays, mapping every military installation, weapon cache, and warship in Kraxan territory. The transformed hospital ships moved with terrible purpose, their quantum excision beams firing with surgical precision. Military bases vanished, their civilian support staff transported to safety milliseconds before the installations ceased to exist. Warships were extracted from spacetime, their crews deposited unharmed on nearby worlds. Weapon factories simply disappeared, their workers finding themselves safely on evacuation platforms. It wasn't a battle. It was a medical procedure. The precise removal of everything that could be used to harm others, conducted with the same care and precision that human doctors use to remove disease while preserving healthy tissue. In Earth's quantum command, Harper watched the systematic disarmament of an empire that had dared to attack a hospital ship. Status of the Healer's Hope survivors. Rescue operations are underway, Admiral. All surviving patients have been quantum transferred to our nearest medical facilities. Dr. Santos is in critical condition but stable. Harper nodded. Prepare a quantum transmission to the Galactic Council. They should understand exactly why humanity chose to build hospital ships instead of weapons of war. We could have conquered the galaxy centuries ago. Instead, we chose to heal it. But now they need to understand what happens when someone mistakes that choice for weakness. The message would be clear. Humanity's dedication to healing wasn't a sign of weakness. It was proof of such overwhelming strength that they could afford to focus on saving lives rather than taking them. But when pushed, when their patients were threatened, they would respond with a precision that made conventional warfare look primitive. As the last Kraxan military installation was surgically removed from existence, Harper opened a channel to the Empire's civilian government. "This concludes our emergency response to your attack on our medical vessel. You will find all your military personnel safe but sedated on designated evacuation worlds. They will awaken in 24 hours. We suggest you use that time to consider the difference between choosing not to harm and being incapable of doing so." The galaxy was learning an important lesson. Humanity hadn't built hospitals instead of weapons. They had perfected the art of healing precisely because they had mastered the science of unmaking reality itself. Their mercy wasn't a weakness to be exploited, but a choice made by beings so powerful they had to consciously restrain themselves. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so silent. Representatives from 100 species sat in stunned silence as they watched the quantum recordings of humanity's response to the Healer's Hope attack. The precision was breathtaking. Entire military installations excised from reality without disturbing so much as a blade of grass around them. Ambassador Lai Wei of Earth stood calmly at the center of the chamber, her traditional diplomatic robes contrasting sharply with the cutting-edge quantum interface floating before her. "What you have witnessed is not an act of war," she explained, her voice carrying the same professional tone as a doctor explaining a procedure. It was a preventive measure, ensuring the patient, in this case, the Kraxan Empire, could no longer harm itself or others. On the main display, footage showed a Kraxan battlecruiser being precisely extracted from space, its crew materializing safely on a nearby colony world. The ship hadn't been destroyed. It had been removed from existence with the same precision a surgeon removes a tumor. For centuries, Lai continued, you have watched us build hospital ships and medical stations. You assumed we had chosen healing because we were incapable of warfare. The truth is more complex. We chose to heal because we had become too proficient at harm. In the secure observation chamber of the Quantum Medical Center on Mars, Dr. Elena Santos watched the council proceedings from her recovery bed. Her injuries from the Healer's Hope attack were healing, thanks to the same quantum manipulation technology that had just reshaped the balance of power in the galaxy. The patient is awake, a soft voice announced. Admiral Harper entered, looking more like a visiting physician than a military commander who had just orchestrated the most precise military operation in galactic history. The Kraxan leadership? Elena asked, her voice still rough from the trauma. Responding well to treatment, Harper replied with a slight smile. They're experiencing something we doctors call sudden perspective adjustment. Their vital signs, political, economic, and social, are stabilizing now that the aggressive elements have been excised. On screens throughout the medical center, they could see the continuing effects of Operation Hippocrates. Earth's transformed hospital ships, now revealed as the most advanced warships ever created, maintained their positions above key Kraxan worlds. But they weren't threatening. They were healing, using their quantum technology to repair the damage caused by centuries of militarization. In the Kraxan capital, Supreme Leader Vexnar watched in disbelief as human ships reconstructed civilian infrastructure that had been neglected in favor of military spending. The same technology that could edit matter out of existence was being used to create, to rebuild, to restore. They could have unmade our entire civilization, his chief scientist whispered. Instead, they're performing microsurgery on our society itself. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Lai activated a new holographic display. We understand there are questions about our capabilities. Let us be clear. What you witnessed was humanity operating at less than 10% of our true capacity. We have chosen to demonstrate this now because the attack on the Healer's Hope violated something sacred, the principle that those who heal should be protected. The display showed the transformation of Earth's other hospital ships, their white hulls darkening to reveal their true nature. But unlike traditional warships, these vessels carried both the power to unmake reality and the precision to heal it. Each weapon was also a medical tool, each destructive capability balanced by the power to create and restore. From this day forward, Lai announced, all medical vessels in the galaxy will be protected by a new protocol. Each ship will carry quantum beacons linked directly to Earth's defense network. Any attack on a medical vessel, regardless of its species of origin, will be treated as a critical condition requiring immediate intervention. In the Quantum Medical Center, Elena watched as her surviving medical staff were reunited with their rescued patients. The children from the critical care ward, whom she had fought so desperately to protect, were recovering under the care of both human and alien doctors. We're implementing new safety protocols, Harper explained, showing her the designs for the next generation of hospital ships. They would still be vessels of healing first and foremost, but now they would carry more obvious defensive capabilities. Not weapons, but the clear ability to protect themselves and their patients. The galaxy needed to understand, Elena said softly, watching a young Kraxan child being treated alongside the very patients her species had endangered. Healing isn't our weakness, it's the ultimate expression of our strength. Harper nodded. The ability to unmake reality means nothing without the wisdom to know when not to use it. That's why our greatest warriors train as doctors first. You can't truly understand how to fight until you understand how to heal. Across the galaxy, the message was being received and understood. Humanity's hospital ships hadn't been signs of weakness. They had been proof of such overwhelming strength that they could afford to focus on healing rather than harm. Their dedication to medicine wasn't due to an inability to fight. It was because they had mastered warfare so completely that they had to find greater challenges. The Kraxan Empire's attempt to prove human compassion was a weakness had instead revealed an essential truth. The most dangerous beings in the universe were those who had mastered both the art of saving lives and the science of unmaking reality. Humanity's mercy wasn't a weakness to be exploited, but a choice made by beings so powerful they had to consciously restrain themselves. And now, as the galaxy watched Earth's hospital ships resume their healing missions, their true nature revealed but their primary purpose unchanged. A new understanding emerged. Humanity hadn't built hospitals instead of weapons. They had evolved beyond the distinction between the two. In their hands, the power to heal and the power to harm had become one and the same, governed only by the wisdom to know which to use. 1 month after the Healer's Hope incident, the galaxy was undergoing a transformation that no one could have predicted. The vast shipyards of the Centauri Alliance, once dedicated to building warships, now constructed medical vessels under human supervision. The Andromeda Confederation had redirected 60% of its military budget into healthcare and medical research. Even the proudest warrior races were reevaluating their priorities. In Earth's Quantum Medical Academy, formerly a classified military facility, Dr. Elena Santos addressed the first class of alien medical students. The lecture hall was filled with beings from 30 different species, including, remarkably, several young Kraxans. The power to heal and the power to harm are two sides of the same coin, she explained, her holographic display showing the quantum structure of a cell. Understanding how to rebuild tissue at the quantum level means understanding how to unmake it. The question isn't which you're capable of, it's which you choose. Among her students sat Crix, a young Kraxan whose parents had been aboard one of the military vessels that humanity had edited out of existence. They had been safely transported to a colony world, but the experience had transformed their perspective. Now their child would become a healer instead of a warrior. In orbit above Earth, the newly commissioned Hope's Legacy prepared for its maiden voyage. The vessel represented humanity's new approach, a hospital ship that no longer hid its defensive capabilities. Its hull was a shifting quantum matrix that could transform from healing white to defensive black in milliseconds, the Red Cross remaining constant in either form. Admiral Harper stood on the observation deck with Ambassador Lai Wei, watching the final preparations. The Galactic Council has ratified the Universal Medical Protection Act, Lai reported. Every medical vessel in known space will now carry quantum beacons linked to our defense network. And the applications for medical training? Harper asked, though he already knew the answer. Overwhelming. We're opening 3 new quantum medical academies just to handle the demand. Species that were at war mere months ago are now collaborating on healing techniques. The Kraxan Empire has officially converted its largest military academy into a medical school. Below them, in Hope's Legacy's primary medical bay, robots installed the latest generation of quantum regeneration chambers. Each unit contained the same technology that could edit matter out of existence, but calibrated for healing. The message was clear. Humanity's greatest weapons and most advanced medical tools were one and the same. There's a delegation from the warrior clans of Antares requesting our help, Lai continued. They want to transform their battle meditation techniques into healing protocols. They say if humans can master both war and healing, they want to learn our balance. Harper nodded, watching as a fleet of smaller medical ships departed Earth's orbit. Each carried instructors to the newly established healing centers across the galaxy. Humanity's response to the Healer's Hope attack had sparked not just fear or respect, but a fundamental revaluation of strength itself. In the depths of what had been the Kraxan Empire's greatest military installation, now transformed into the galaxy's largest trauma center, Supreme Leader Vexnar underwent a surprising transformation of his own. He had volunteered to be the first Kraxan leader to undergo medical training. I never understood, he admitted to his human instructor, why a species would choose to heal when they could conquer. But watching your ships unmake our military with the precision of surgeons, while preserving every life, I finally comprehend. True power isn't in the ability to destroy, but in having that ability and choosing instead to heal. The incident had sparked a renaissance in medical technology across the galaxy. Species that had hoarded their scientific discoveries now shared them freely in the new galactic medical exchange. The same quantum principles that humanity had mastered for both healing and defense were being adapted by other races under careful supervision. "We're receiving reports from the outer colonies," Lai told Harper as they walked through Hope's Legacy's halls. "The pirate raids that have plagued the medical supply routes have completely ceased. Apparently, the sight of our new hospital ships is quite persuasive." Harper allowed himself a small smile. The ships didn't need to transform into their defensive configuration anymore. The simple knowledge of what they could do was sufficient. Humanity's reputation had changed from peaceful healers to something far more complex. Beings who had mastered the fundamental forces of reality itself and chosen to use that mastery primarily for healing. In the quantum-linked network that now connected every medical facility in known space, Dr. Santos watched as the day's statistics updated. Treatment success rates were rising across all species. Mortality rates were dropping. The great paradox of humanity's revelation was that by demonstrating their capacity for precise surgical warfare, they had ultimately created more healing than ever before. "We're detecting a shift in galactic culture," the AI coordinator reported. "Military spending across all major civilizations has decreased by an average of 47%. Medical and scientific research funding has increased by 312%. The number of applications to medical training programs has exceeded all historical records." In Earth's Quantum Command, now renamed the Galactic Health Coordination Center, the massive quantum computers that had once calculated weapon trajectories now coordinated emergency medical responses across thousands of light years. The same technology that could edit matter out of existence now tracked pandemic patterns and developed new treatments. The transformation wasn't just technological, it was philosophical. Species that had measured strength in destructive capability now sought to prove their power through their ability to heal, to restore, to preserve life. The human model of the warrior healer was being adopted across the galaxy, creating a new definition of what it meant to be strong. 5 years after the Healer's Hope incident, a new vessel hung in orbit above the site where the original hospital ship had made its last stand. The memorial, as it was simply known, served as both a monument and a working medical facility. Its quantum-shifted hull displayed a constant holographic projection of the original Healer's Hope, while inside, doctors from across the galaxy worked together in ways that would have seemed impossible just years before. Dr. Elena Santos stood in the memorial's grand observation dome, watching the streams of medical ships arriving and departing. Each vessel now carried the distinctive quantum beacon that linked it to Earth's defense network, but few thought about that protection anymore. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The last of the Kraxan military conversion projects is complete, Admiral Harper reported, joining her at the window. Like many military leaders, he now spent more time overseeing medical initiatives than defense protocols. Their orbital weapon platforms have been transformed into emergency medical stations. Elena nodded, remembering the attack that had changed everything. "Have you seen the latest statistics from the Galactic Medical Council? 300% increase in survival rates for critical injuries, 90% reduction in pandemic outbreaks, and most surprisingly, a 60% decrease in armed conflicts." Harper smiled slightly. It's amazing how diplomatic people become when they understand that the galaxy's greatest healers are also its most formidable defenders. In the memorial's quantum-enhanced training center, Crix, now a fully qualified doctor, instructed a class of mixed-species medical students. The young Kraxan had become a symbol of transformation, proof that even the most warrior-like species could find strength in healing. "The key to quantum regeneration," Crix explained, "lies in understanding that creation and unmaking are the same skill, viewed from different perspectives. Humanity didn't become great healers despite their power to unmake reality. They became great healers because of it." Ambassador Lai Wei, entering the observation dome, carried reports from across the galaxy. The last holdout systems have signed the Medical Protection Accords, she announced. As of today, every known spacefaring civilization has agreed to the principles of medical neutrality and universal healthcare access. Through the quantum network that connected all medical facilities, they could see the impact of these changes. The same technology that humanity had once developed for defense now coordinated emergency responses across thousands of light years. Disease outbreaks were contained before they could become epidemics. Natural disasters were met with immediate coordinated response from multiple species. There's something poetic about it, Elena mused, watching a former Kraxan warship, now converted into a mobile trauma center, dock with the memorial. We spent centuries hiding our strength, letting everyone think we chose healing because we were weak. In the end, revealing our power didn't lead to more conflict. It led to more healing than ever before. In the memorial's central garden, a holographic display showed the final moments of the healer's hope. But now, instead of serving as a reminder of tragedy, it stood as a testament to transformation. The attack that was meant to prove humanity's weakness had instead revealed a truth that reshaped galactic civilization. True strength lay not in the ability to destroy, but in having that ability and choosing to heal instead. The latest breakthrough in quantum medicine is ready for distribution, Harper noted, reviewing reports on his neural interface. The techniques we developed for editing matter out of existence have been adapted to eliminate cancer at the cellular level. Every medical facility in known space will have access by the end of the month. The memorial's quantum core hummed with energy as it coordinated thousands of healing operations across the galaxy. In its medical bays, former enemies worked side by side, saving lives with technology that could just as easily end them. The power to unmake reality had become the power to remake it, one patient at a time. We've received the first graduates from the Galactic Medical Academy, Lai reported, including several species that had never shown interest in healing arts before the incident. They're calling it the human approach, the integration of defensive capability with healing knowledge. In the trauma center, a team of doctors from 12 different species worked together to save a critically injured patient, their differences forgotten, their former conflicts meaningless in the face of their shared mission to preserve life. This was humanity's true legacy, not the revelation of their power, but the demonstration of how that power could be used to unite and heal. The memorial's quantum beacon pulsed steadily, its signal joining the network that protected medical vessels throughout known space. But the beacon's real purpose had evolved. More than a warning, it had become a symbol of hope, a reminder that the most powerful force in the galaxy had chosen to heal rather than harm. The next generation of medical ships launches next month, Harper said, watching the construction yards in Earth's orbit. They're calling the class Hope's Children. Each one carries enough power to unmake a planet, all of it calibrated for healing. Elena touched the memorial plaque that bore the names of those lost on the original healer's hope. Their sacrifice had unleashed not vengeance, but understanding. Not destruction, but transformation. In choosing to respond to an attack on healing with surgical precision rather than overwhelming force, humanity had taught the galaxy its greatest lesson. True power lies not in the ability to take life, but in the choice to preserve it. As the memorial continued its eternal orbit around the site of humanity's greatest loss and greatest triumph, its quantum core pulsed with the combined medical knowledge of 1,000 worlds. The galaxy had learned that the species they had dismissed as oddly peaceful healers were actually master surgeons of reality itself, capable of editing matter from existence with the same precision they used to save lives. But more importantly, they had learned why such a powerful species had chosen to heal, not from weakness, but from the strength of knowing they could do otherwise. Not from inability to fight, but from the wisdom to know that healing was the greater challenge. The legacy of the healer's hope lived on, not in weapons or warnings, but in the countless lives saved by the civilization it had helped create. A civilization where strength was measured not in destructive capability, but in the power to preserve, protect, and heal.